You want people to make it sound as though you're listening to trap music, although the composer of this music had never heard the term, never thought of that term, likely as not, in 1994. Tommy Wright III, Ashes to Ashes, Dust to Dust. Listening to this now, it's astonishing how much of modern music appears to seemingly owe a lot of debt to this, what was apparently a fairly, well, relatively, in the grand scheme of things, obscure tape from 1994. On Rate Your Music, Hurricane Slash writes very recently, yesterday, an intense step up from his debut mixtape. In 1994, now probably 18-year-old Tommy Wright had his debut album ready to send out to the world, so he did the only correct thing and started his own label to bring that project to the Memphis masses, and thus Street Smart Records was born. And the album he had ready for the world, Ashes to Ashes, Dust to Dust, is one of the rawest projects that the Memphis scene had seen up until that point. Yes, the production is still a bit messy and the songs drone on, but the level of vigor display on this album is nothing short of impressive. Tommy doubled down on his street tales, crafting these really distinct and violent stories that lead you down darker paths that you can probably imagine. All these features add to that in spades, including a very young Princess Loko, and everybody is having a blast of their fast-paced flows. Musically, this is also a very big step forward, with Tommy developing some nice chaotic melodies of that iconic cowbell, carefully weaving in some soulful samples and West Coast vocal snippets, dissonant synth lines, and surprising melodic beats. It still sounds chaotic, and a lot of the production feels taped together, but you can't deny the atmosphere and energy this brought to the table, just hard-hitting material all around. A to A, D to D. It's not really an easy entry into Memphis rap, in my opinion, because it still has a lo-fi self-made sound, kind of rinky-dink production techniques, and very repetitive song structures, but if you are accustomed to the more unpolished side of the genre, then this will be an easy sell for you. Just a talented producer-rapper with a couple of his friends, really just wanting to punch the harder songs under the sun out of thin air, and coming through with a lot of energy and dark storytelling. Definitely a classic in its own right, and the best thing is that Tommy continued to improve on this formula in the future. Really a talent for the ages. Good stuff, Hurricane Slash. Now I'll just read one more. Sarkist174 from March 2023, also quite recently. Tommy Wright III is, in my opinion, one of the most underrated and overlooked rappers and producers in the history of rap and hip-hop. His unique style of DIY hip-hop, marked by grotesquely lo-fi production, 808 drum machines, throbbing bass, and horror synths, went on to pioneer and define a lot of underground hip-hop, trap, and cloud rap music going on into the future. His debut album, A to A, D to D, remains a classic and essential for the dark, horrific scene within southern hip-hop Memphis rap. Isn't an accessible record, at least by hip-hop standards. Its lo-fi, rackety, amateurish production style and inherently messy presentation are going to put off a lot of people, but if you can look past that, it's some of the rawest music that rap can provide. If banger could be represented by a song, it'd be Meet Your Maker, one of the best songs to emerge from the Southern Underground during the 1990s. Coming for the 94, Four Corners, and Murder in the First Degree are also amazing songs. The rapping provided by Tommy Wright III is excellently aggressive and raw, perfectly matching the haunted and creepy sound provided by the cheap electronics and lo-fi production. The rapping from the features ranges from decent T-Dog to fantastic Princess Loko, but Tommy Wright III still manages to shine the brightest on the record, while there are some weaker songs. The overall experience provided by this album is one of a kind. One of the more definitive, creepy, both eerie in a sense of it evokes a kind of ghostly, sort of undead atmosphere, and yet also the kind of decaying and primitive electronics coming out from beyond the grave. This is an astonishing album, one of the more interesting releases of any genre from the 1990s, I would claim, actually.